It's been 20 years since June 13th, 2005, aka Vindication Day, aka the day where Michael Jackson was fully acquitted in a trial that should have never happened in the first place. If you followed the case in real time, or if you've done your research in the years since, then you'll automatically know that the media wanted and predicted that Michael Jackson would be found guilty. They were very bold in their predictions, even showing the jail cell Michael would have been in had he been convicted on live television right before the verdict was read. One specific journalist even said she would eat crow if Michael Jackson was found innocent, and needless to say, there were a lot of eggs on people's faces. The difference between what and how the media was reporting on the trial and what was actually taking place in the courtroom day after day remains a travesty. But the most important thing here is that Michael Jackson was fully and rightfully vindicated. We'll let the media do the talking and show you exactly how and what they were saying in the lead up to the verdict being delivered and what their reactions were afterwards. Needless to say, a couple of people had to eat crow.
Do you think that even if there's an acquittal today, that Michael Jackson will ever be free of this accusation that kind of stands now, that he's got odd behavior and he behaves perhaps inappropriately towards children?
Clerk court will read the 10 counts. She will start with count 1, conspiracy, and move her way down. We've talked about conspiracy being weak. If conspiracy is not guilty, Michael Jackson is a long way from being out of the woods because molest is next. If he's not guilty on molest, it's likely the defense will run the table. If he's guilty on conspiracy, it is likely the prosecution will run the table. But Hammer and Greta Van Susteren will come out and they will give us the flavor of the courtroom because there's no video in there and there's going to be a lot of emotion, Shepard.
I'd say there will, Tracy.
And there are plenty of ways that even with some guilty findings on here, Michael Jackson can escape jail. There are also some ways here where Michael Jackson cannot escape jail.
They have prepared an area in the Santa Barbara County Jail for Michael Jackson to go to if he is found guilty. It's about a 65-mile drive. He would be driven not in the vans and in the public transportation that we see so many of convicted felons travel in back and forth to jail. He would more than likely be driven with deputies down to this jail in Santa Barbara County. Innocent. And again, the numbers continue to grow outside here. Michael Jackson starting to walk up. Well, you're seeing it unfold right there. I'm sort of watching it from the back view. Let's see if we can point out his family members. I see, and it's overcrowded. The overcrowding is a huge issue. Of course, Michael Jackson would not be entered into general population of that jail. He would go into one of the isolation parts of that jail, and this is what his life would be like in that jail until he is sentenced. He would be,
but they got a late start leaving the Neverland Ranch. So they moved back. The verdict scheduled to be read at 1:45, but as you can see, it's gone well beyond that. So as soon as everyone gets through security and everyone is in place in court, then the jurors will be brought in, and
he would be in that jail 23 hours a day. He would get out only for an hour, and that would be for some exercise. He would eat all 3 meals in that jail. This is a far cry from Neverland. There is one bed. It is on a steel, or maybe it might either be steel or concrete platform with a very thin mattress. There is a steel urinal and a wash basin in that. There are not bars in front of these isolation cells. It's just basically a door with a window where you can actually look in and see the prisoner there. The lights go on at 5 a.m. I believe they're out.
Jury stares at the judge. It's not an innocent.
They're out at 5:30. He would have little, if no, contact with any of the other inmates. Again, this is a very, very crowded jail. Overcrowding is a huge issue here in Santa Barbara County. So Michael Jackson would be in one of their special isolation holding cells, and he's been there before.
I'm going to go out there, guilty on molestation counts.
California plaintiff versus Michael Joe Jackson defendant, case number 1133603, count 1 verdict. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of conspiracy as charged in count 1 of the indictment, dated June 13th, 2005, foreperson number 8. Count 6 verdict. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of attempting to commit a lewd act upon a minor child as charged in count 6 of the indictment, dated June 13th, 2005, for person number 80.
Now I want you to look very closely at the bottom of this next clip that we're about to show from CNN as the verdict was being read. If you look closely, you will see that CNN accidentally ran the message that Michael had been convicted on all charges. Obviously, that didn't happen because he was found not guilty on every single charge. So this was clearly a pre-loaded message that CNN had ready to go that they accidentally ran while the verdict was happening.
Lesser offense. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of providing alcoholic beverages to persons under the age of 29 of the indictment, dated June 10th, 2005, for person number 80. Intoxicating agent to assist in the commission of a felony as charged in count 10 of the indictment, dated June 10th, 2005, for person number 80. Count 10 verdict, lesser offense. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of providing alcoholic beverages to persons under the age of 21.
An innocent man. The $4 million trial is over, and Michael Jackson is free.
I think what was devastating for the prosecution's case here was the internal inconsistency in the timeline. On the one hand, to say he panicked and tried to kidnap when the Bashir documentary came out because he was so worried, and on the other, that he committed the acts of molestation after he tried to kidnap. After he was worried about everything, he did the one act that could give substance to all his worries and all his fears. That was the inconsistency that the prosecution apparently never could get beyond with this jury.
Now, you were looking at live pictures from out.
Anything that convinced me to say guilty ever throughout the whole trial.
As we go to break, I'm having a little crow sandwich on the set tonight, and it's not going to taste good. Be right back.
I've never had a crow pie or a crow sandwich before. Must taste pretty bad. Anyway, as usual, we've got some more things coming for you in the pipeline. So, thanks for tuning in. And remember, facts don't lie, but people do.